In this video, I'm going to show you what is possibly the most easiest and quickest way to create low and medium content books for publishing on Amazon KDP. Welcome to my channel. My name is Caroline, and thank you for taking a few moments out of your day to join me here. If you are new here and you do enjoy content like this, please think about subscribing so that you don't miss any new videos that I release every single week, just like this one. I'm very excited to share this video with you today because I love sharing tools and resources that will help you get started with publishing books, and also that help you create high quality books that will match the quality of the books that are already selling on Amazon. Let me just quickly run over the process of creating a book that you can publish on Amazon. First of all, you need to decide what type of book you want to create, of course, but you have a lot of technical things to work out too, like what size you want to make the book, how many pages you want the book to have, whether you want the pages to have bleed or no bleed. Then you need to work out the margins of your book and where your elements need to be placed on each page so that they don't get cut off during the printing process. And then you need to go over that same process for your cover, your front and back cover. You need to make sure that you create the right cover size for the size of book you want and how many pages your book has. You need to make sure it's big enough to fit the front cover, back cover, and the spine of the book, and that everything you're putting on the cover fits within the margins so that everything fits on the page aesthetically, but also so that it's not being covered by anything like barcodes or not being cut off within the margins and where they cut the pages when they finally print the book. If you have already created and published a book for Amazon, you'll know that there is a lot to consider and take into account so that it is perfectly correct, so that A, it gets past those preview checks during the upload process into your KDP account, and B, it actually looks good when a customer buys it. And I know that a lot of people get stuck with this side of publishing books because I see posts on social media and I see comments on YouTube videos all the time asking for help with an error with their margins or book size or whatever formatting error that may be coming up when they're uploading their book on KDP and trying to publish their book. And so that's why I am very excited to share something new with you today to help you in this whole process of getting it right the first time when creating your book. All of those little things, like making sure your margins are right, your bleeds correct, all your elements are placed within the right places on your pages and your covers, can take up a lot of time going through that process of uploading the book into your KDP account, previewing it in the previewer launch area, and then seeing that there's an error, having to go back to your file and try and change those things, re-uploading it, and the process goes on and on until you get every single thing correct to be able to move forward in uploading the book. This is going to be great if you are a beginner or if you're someone who doesn't know how to or just doesn't want to use any kind of professional graphic design program, things like Adobe Photoshop or Adobe InDesign, to create your books. And no, it's not Canva. This tool actually comes from Bookvault, and if you have seen any of my previous videos, I have talked about Bookvault many times. And if you haven't heard of Bookvault, they are a niche research tool specifically for no and low content book publishers on Amazon KDP. Their original niche research product is this one here, where you can go into their research and niche tools and look for no and low content books, which ones are the most popular, which ones are the best selling, or just to get ideas for possible books that you may want to make. It's a really handy little tool for niche research with these types of books. These types of books being the low and medium content types of books. And they have released a new tool called Bookvault Studio, and this sort of replaces the old designer or design area that they had where you could create a book. But this new tool is just a whole new ball game for creating a whole book, covers, interiors, everything like that, for anyone who doesn't have design experience, who is a beginner, who doesn't want or have the budget to purchase professional programs to create these kind of books. Okay, so this is the landing page of Bookvault Studio. We can see you can sign up for free. We can create book covers, interiors, puzzles, and there's a KDP publishing library. So I'm not going to just keep going through this main page. I'm going to log in and show you how the whole thing works. So if you already have a Bookvault account, you just log into your account like normal. If you don't, once you have signed up for your Bookvault account, this is where you land when you log in. What you want to do is click on this little triangle here and click on Create. From here, we get PuzzleWiz, Bookvault Designer, and Mass Cover Converter. Now, if you're just interested in knowing what PuzzleWiz is, if you have a Bookvault Pro account, you also get access to their PuzzleWiz software, which is a software that allows you to create puzzle books, basically. So things like word searches, Sudoku, crosswords, things like that. That is part of the Bookvault Pro membership. What we want to do now is go to Bookvault Designer, and we just close down that little window that popped up, and then we head over here to the top right hand corner and we want to try the Bookvault Studio. And this is where we can set the basic information for the book that you want to create. Now, what you can do is you can create the cover and interior either together. You can also choose to create a paperback or a hardcover. The dimensions and things like margin and bleed is different depending on whether you're creating a paperback or a hardcover. So you have to make sure that you select the correct one. So let's just leave it on paperback, cover, and interior so we can take a look at that. And then here you can select the trim size. The trim size is the size of book. This will align with what you can print in KDP, and it will depend on what type of book you're creating as to what size that you want to make it. Let's say, for example, we want to create an 8.5 by 11 inch book. We want to create just a black and white interior with white paper, but you do have access to all the other options there that KDP offers. And then you can select whether you want bleed or no bleed. Bleed is where the text or the images on the pages run right to the edge of the page. No bleed means you will have a white margin between whatever elements are on your page and the edge of the page. Hope that makes sense. And then here you can pop in whatever page count that you want the book to be, and it creates the book. And what I love about this is you now no longer have all the fiddling around with trying to figure out the size of the cover, where the margins are, where your printing area are, where the barcode is, and things like that. In the past, using any other program like Photoshop or even Canva, you had to create the canvas, so you had to figure out what size the cover needed to be first of all. Then you had to import this image in so that you knew where to put your elements on the cover. It just saves so much time and, like I say, a lot less fiddling around trying to get your cover size and this template all in the right place. It's there for you. You don't have to do anything else. And then you can basically just go about creating your book. And it is just so quick and easy. Now that you've got the template or the canvas set up, you can just add whatever you want to add. Now you can create a book with whatever interior that you want, or you can use the pre-made interiors from Bookvault. I personally think it is a lot better creating your own interiors. I think that the more unique that you can make the book, the better. But if you are going to go down the road of creating low content books like notebooks and journals, logbooks, stuff like that, then you can save a lot of time by just using the pre-made interior, because if you're doing a notebook, it's just a lined page, isn't it? There's not much really that you can do with that to make it unique. So if that's the case, you can just use a pre-made interior. And to do that, you would just click over on this little maze looking icon, which brings up the templates library. Now, one thing to note, it is going to depend on what membership you have as to what you have access to. There are some free interiors that you have access to where you don't need a paid membership for. And if you have the Pro account, the Bookvault Pro, you will get access to all of the templates within the library. So you can basically just scroll through and you can see that there are heaps of templates in here that you can use if you are, like I say, just creating a plain old low content book like a notebook. And each one has different, as it says, different variants. So if we click on that, you've got narrow ruled, college ruled, or wide ruled. There are 4 variants of graph paper, so different sized grids and things like that. Depending on what you want to create, this might come in handy. Let's say, for example, you do want to create a dot grid notebook or dot grid journal. Let's click on this. We click select all because you want that same page to be repeated throughout the whole book. I unselected the cover because I don't want that placed on the cover. So what is great about this is you can create a book with multiple different interiors in it. So if you wanted to create the type of journal that has one page as a dot grid page, the next page as a lined page, and then maybe the next page is blank or something, you can do that by selecting which pages you want which interior to go on, which is very handy and will just save so much time compared to some of the older ways of doing it. Then we click next, and you can pop in margins and things like that if you want. You can change colors and stuff if you want. Most of the time your book's going to be black and white, so you're probably not going to change that. And then we click submit, and it's just creating all the pages with the dot grids on it. And from there, once it's created all your pages, you can just go ahead and start creating your cover. And there are elements within this Bookvault Designer that you can use if you want to. There are things like shapes, icons, things like that that you can use. We have different types of text if you want your text bent or circular, things like that. And then we have a whole heap of different fonts that you can use on your covers and on your interiors. So you don't even have to go off and buy commercial fonts to use or anything like that. You are free to use whatever is in there. If you do have your own fonts to use, you can upload your own font. So if you have purchased one that you want to use, you can upload it here and you can use it in the Bookvault Designer as well. Now there are images as well, which are linked to some of the free stock websites of Pixabay and Unsplash if you want to use those. Personally, I like to use all my own images that I get from other stock image websites that I pay for. I just feel like you get exactly what you want and much higher quality if you're going to be using an image on your page. And if you do have your own images that you want to use, you just click upload file and upload the image in here, and then you can use it on your cover or within your interior if you're wanting to put some sort of image on each page or something like that. Now, while you are creating your cover, you might want to see how the cover is going to look without this template over it. So the template's great to make sure that all your text and images are within the white areas and that you don't have anything going over the barcode area. But when you want to just have a look at the cover to make sure it looks nice, you click up here to the cover template opacity and just click hide KDP cover, and then you've got your blank page. So even if you do get rid of the cover, you've still got those green grid lines to show you where the cutting areas are going to be and things like that. Now, I do just want to show you if you are going to be creating a book that isn't low content, it's more medium content, which is something that I have been recommending for a long time now. Medium content is things that are more content than a notebook or journal. Medium content is what I refer to books like coloring books, activity books, puzzle books, workbooks, things like that. They're very unique. You only create one of a kind. You don't create multiple books with the same interior with these types of books. I just want to show you, if you did want to create your own book, as in you've got your own interiors to put into it, just how simple and quick and easy that it is. So I'm just going to remove all those dot grid pages. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete it from the second page as well. Let's say, for example, we are going to create a coloring book. So a coloring book might have one page here, which is sort of like an introduction page, or you might have some information about freebie that you're giving away to get people to sign up to your email list, or you want to put your social media accounts on here so people can go follow you on social media and things like that. So I would, for now, leave it blank and fill that in later. You can have that first page there for whatever it is you want to put on there. Then you don't want the coloring image to start on the back of that page, so you can either leave that page blank, or you can even put more text or more information or something else on the back of that page. Ideally, I would want a coloring book page to start on page number 3. This is where my first coloring image would go. So let's say that I want to upload my own interior pages. I need to go and get my coloring images that are going to go on the page. Now, I've only got one, just for the sake of this video. I haven't downloaded multiple coloring images. So let's just pretend we have something like 50 or 80 coloring images to go in this book. I've uploaded it into the library, clicked on it, and it's going to get inserted onto the page. Now from here, I don't want the image like that because obviously it doesn't fit. It's got a lot of white around it. So what I can do is click here and drag it around and make it more of a portrait style. And then I want it to fill the whole page. So I am going to drag these little corners until it fills the page, and then just adjust it as I think is nice. And that's it. My coloring image is on the page. That took all of maybe 10 seconds. And then let's say that we want to have a black page on the back, because a lot of coloring books do. Pages within Amazon's books are quite thin, so a lot of people like to put black on the back to help eliminate some of that color bleeding through when coloring this page in. And so what we would want to do in the past with other types of programs, we would basically have to sort of put a shape over the page, add color to the shape and things like that. What I'm going to do is just click here and click black and OK, and we're done. We've got a black page on the back. And it was just so quick and easy. I've made a lot of coloring books in the past. I have a series of coloring books on KDP, and I use multiple programs to create those books, and they definitely were not as quick as this. This is such a simple, easy way to have all those technical details taken care of for you. So those technical details are the things like those margins and the bleed and the page size and all that sort of stuff. You don't have to think about any of that. It's all done in here. And I think that is just the power of this tool, is taking that part out of it, which causes so many of us so many headaches when we're trying to upload our books to KDP and we get that horrid margin error, or that your text is outside a margin or something like that. I know that we've all had those errors, and it can just take hours for you to figure it out and get it right so that the book can get approved for the preview. So let's just say that we did have another coloring image here to add, but I don't, so I'm just going to pretend this is different. I've just added it to the page, scaled it, aligned it, done. The next page, I'm going to delete that. We add black. Done. Imagine how quickly that you can get books made using this tool. I think it's just so helpful, and it's great if you don't have graphic design experience. Those programs are good, but they have a steep learning curve. It can take a really long time to learn how to use programs like Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign. It can take a really, really long time to learn those programs. This is just a very simple, easy way to get books done. And it's just going to make life for a lot of us a whole lot easier. I hope that you can see the benefit and the power of having a resource or a tool like this. There are different versions of Bookvault that you can have to get access to it. They do have a free version. There is also the Pro, which then gives you access to the Bookvault niche research tool, everything within this designer program, and the Puzzle Whiz software. So in saying that, actually, let's just quickly take a look at the Puzzle Whiz stuff, because what I really like about it is that is now integrated into this designer. So what you can do is, if you do have Bookvault Pro, you can click on this interior templates library, and if you have the Pro, it will come up with the Puzzle Whiz stuff in here. So you don't even have to go in and log into Puzzle Whiz. Now you can do everything in here. So you can see you've got Mindfinder, Kokoro, Missing Vowels, Cryptograms, Hangman, Nurikabi, Crosswords, Sudoku, and then the different types of mazes that you can use in your books. With Puzzle Whiz before, you would go into Puzzle Whiz, you would create the puzzles, you would download a PDF file, and then there was actually not much else you could do with that file once you downloaded it, because PDFs are fairly hard to edit. So whatever the file downloaded as was what you kind of had to go with. Now there's going to be a lot more options with being able to customize the puzzles. So the great thing now is that you can create those really fun creative puzzles where you can add images, you can add really cool font, headings, text, stories, and things like that, especially if you're doing kids puzzles. You can add some really cool creative things to your pages. So I just really think Bookvault has stepped up with this program, and I love that they've released it, because I especially love being able to customize the puzzles now. I just think this is so great, and I hope you can see why I think it's great too. I hope you found this overview of the new Bookvault Studio helpful. If you did, please leave me a comment down below to let me know, and I will see you in the next video.